Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Wednesday night loving kindness meditation. My name is Alex. It's wonderful to be here with you today. I don't know how many of you are out there, but I love each and every one of you, and I hope you're doing well, and I hope you're managing as best as you can during, this challenging time. I know it's difficult. I do, but hopefully we can make it a little better with this hour in meditation that we're going to spend together. So we're going to do a loving kindness meditation. If you're new, if you've never been to an online class before, or even if you have, there's a little chat box there in wherever you're looking, and say hi. If you're new, say hi. Let us know you're new, and maybe we'll say hi to you. All right. Gosh, so many things I want to talk about. So the first thing is, we're going to have this short introduction here that's going to last a few minutes, and then we're going to have our loving kindness meditation, and then I'm going to open it up for questions. I might have a little bit more something to say, but I'm going to open it up for questions. And I know that you probably have questions. And so think of any questions you might have. You can type it in the box now, and we'll get to it after the meditation. Or just think about what you might want to ask, and then ask it after the meditation. I'm also really interested in what your experience of meditation is. If it was easy, if it was difficult, if this, time in isolation is really getting to you, and how, if at all, meditation changed your outlook on what you're going through. The word in Pali that we use for this loving kindness, is called Metta, Metta, and Metta is from an ancient Pali language, like I said before, and it's a language that we think what the Buddha spoke, or pretty close to what the Buddha spoke. And because it's an ancient language, one word translated into English can mean a lot of different things and have a lot of different translations. And this word metta is no exception. Metta can be loving kindness, unconditional friendliness, goodwill, and simply a wish to be happy. And you can use these different translations depending on who you're doing this practice for. So sometimes the word love or loving kindness, when you think of that word, that doesn't really come tripping off the tongue when you think of this person. And so maybe simply just goodwill, a wish that no harm comes to this particular person. And sometimes that's the best you can do, and that's perfectly acceptable, and that's fine. So you can use the different translations depending on who you're doing this practice for. Traditionally, we do this practice by reciting phrases over and over for various people. And you can do that, or if you don't like reciting phrases over and over, kind of like a mantra almost, you can just imagine yourself radiating loving kindness from your heart to theirs. It could be any color. Some people like to do different colors. You can think of it as warm or cool or something else. And so, you can just play around with that. The thing about meditation is that it's always okay to experiment. And we actually encourage experimentation, because what works for me is not necessarily going to be the same as what works for you. So especially when we're following our breath, maybe it's more comfortable for me to take deeper breaths because maybe I'm more anxious, but you're not. And so you can just kind of take regular breaths, or maybe even shorter breaths. So the first thing that I would like to do is I would like to read the Buddha's own instructions on this practice of loving kindness. And these are instructions not only for the meditation, but really how to do this practice in your daily life. So this is called the Metta Sutta, or the Metta Sutra. It's just the Buddha's instructions or his discourse on loving kindness. So I'd like to read this now. And the Buddha says, "This is what should be done by one who is skilled in goodness and who knows the path of peace. Let them be able and upright, straightforward and gentle in speech, humble and not conceited, contented and easily satisfied, unburdened with duties and frugal in their ways, peaceful and calm and wise and skillful, not proud or demanding in nature. Let them not do the slightest thing that the wise would later reprove, wishing, in gladness and in safety, may all beings be at ease. Whatever living beings there may be, whether they are weak or strong, omitting none, the great or the mighty, medium, short or small, the seen and the unseen, those living near and far away, those born and to be born, may all beings be at ease. Let none deceive another, or despise any being in any state. Let none through anger or ill will wish harm upon another. Even as a mother protects with her life her child, her only child, so with a boundless heart one should cherish all living beings, radiating kindness over the entire world, spreading upwards to the skies and downwards to the depths, outwards and unbounded, freed from hatred and ill will, whether standing or walking, seated or lying down, free from drowsiness, one should sustain this recollection. This is said to be the sublime abiding. By not holding to fixed views, the pure-hearted one, having clarity of vision, being freed from all sense desires, is not born again into this world." Isn't that beautiful? And when I think about these words being from 2,500 years ago, I'm even more amazed. I say that every time I read this sutra, and it continues to be true every time I read it, that these words came from so long ago and the teachings from then are just as applicable today as they were back then. And so one thing before we start on the meditation instructions, about less than an hour ago, I was sitting in my room and I was really angry. I was really angry. I was so angry, and I was angry at just a person, a couple of different things that are happening, something that was stuck in the past, and it was all just one big ball of confusion and all of these different types of things that kind of anger and ill will brings. And I was reflecting on that, and I was reflecting on how much this hurts. Just being angry hurts. It hurts a lot. Like they say, you're not punished for your anger, you're punished by your anger. And that was certainly the case for me not too long ago. And one of the things I have found, especially when I feel angry or these feelings of anger come up when maybe I'm doing or trying to do loving kindness for, what we call the enemy or someone who I don't like very much. I always find that instead of doing loving kindness for them, I always find it better to do loving kindness for myself, because I'm hurting myself with this anger. And it's really me that I need to forgive for punishing myself needlessly. And so I just remember just sitting there and not, I don't know if I was meditating per se, but just remembering breathing and remembering, it's okay, Alex. You don't have to hold on to this, Alex. And just breathing and just really saying it's okay, and speaking very, very gently to myself. Instead of making it about the other person, it was really more about me. and punishing myself just for this anger, because anger hurts. If you will get to a point, if you haven't already got there, in meditation where you feel angry or you feel very difficult feelings, and you don't have to, and you realize that you're just holding on to them needlessly. And they hurt. They hurt a lot, and you notice it more than you have ever noticed it before. They've always been there, but you just have some mindfulness about you now, and you realize, and your view is a little bit different. It's like, oh yeah, I'm really just punishing myself for all of this anger, and all of this hatred, and all of this ill will, and all of this confusion, and all this. I just want to punch that mother effer in the face, and whatever things that I'm thinking, and I think these things, I think these things, often enough. We'll just say that. But my response to this is somewhat different now, and I felt that I've come to discover that just forgiving myself and doing loving kindness for myself, and part of that really is forgiveness for harming myself with these difficult thoughts, really helps a great deal. So try that. So I just kind of wanted to get that off my chest. Part of what I was really angry about too was, I talked a little bit about it last week. I said some things were, I wanted to talk about something, but my thoughts were not fully formed yet, and I actually don't want to talk about it. It's not worth talking about. Maybe sometime. Maybe when you're back here in the temple and I get to see you face to face, we'll talk about it. But not worth it right now. All right. So just if there are any new people, let's go over some basic instructions before we start the meditation. If you're seated on a cushion, you just want to make sure that your hips are higher than your legs. And so you're sitting on maybe like the forward third of your cushion. If you're seated in a chair, or on the side of your bed, or seated in some other way, you just want to make sure that your feet are flat on the floor with your legs a few inches apart. Your hands can be anywhere, so I just put them in my lap or on my legs, and sometimes I just kind of alternate them. If you remember anything, just remember to keep your back straight. So I like to make my back super duper straight, and then just kind of relax. So my core is still somewhat engaged a little bit, but my shoulders are dropped, and I'm just trying to, being as relaxed as possible. So we can maintain, if we can maintain this really solid and stable and sustainable position, we're not going to be worried about it during meditation. So it's one less thing to think about, so we can just concentrate on metta, on loving kindness. All right. But of course, if you get, uncomfortable, if you have any discomfort in any way, and if it just gets too unbearable, yeah, sure, move. Absolutely. You can, just make short movements. We want to make sure that we're creating this attitude of no struggle. We don't want to struggle with our posture. We don't want to struggle with our meditation. If it gets too difficult with you, it's okay just to open your eyes and just stretch and just take a couple of deep breaths with your eyes open until you can kind of recenter yourself, and then just go back to meditating. That's perfectly okay. You're not being graded, right? So don't worry about it. Just do what you have to do. Come back to the meditation. Come back to the breath, and you'll be fine. Your eyes can be open. Your eyes can be closed. It's usually easier in the West just to close your eyes. Or if you want, you can look keep your eyes half closed, maybe looking 45 degrees down past your nose in this kind of soft and unfocused gaze. Let's have some fun. Let's make this a good experience, a worthwhile experience. Maybe that's a better way to look at it. Okay. Usually this is the time where I said, okay, do you have any questions before we start? But probably don't. Or if you do, just make sure you type it into the box, and then we'll get to it afterwards. Of course I forgot my bell. Let me get my bell. That's okay. I can forgive myself for that. It's okay. Now we're ready. So just allow your eyes to close, making sure you have that position that's nice and comfortable for you and nice and sustainable so you're not likely to move around too much. Maybe even taking a deep breath all the way in and all the way out. And when we sit, each and every one of us, whether we're sitting on a cushion, on a chair, whether we're lying down, we sit like a Buddha. And you can even imagine yourself sitting underneath the Bodhi tree of enlightenment. Ready for the task at hand, to free your own heart from these difficult emotions, from all suffering. At first, let's just pay a gentle attention to the breath, focusing your breath at the base of the nostrils, feeling the air go in and out as you breathe. Or maybe focusing on the belly or the chest, feeling its expansion and contraction as you breathe. Even taking a few more deep breaths at first. And then relaxing. Letting the breath be quite easy and quite natural. Not struggling with the breath in any way. It's so important that we connect with the breath. We try to keep our body and mind still. If you have a thought that arises, just note it and just say, thinking, and come back to the breath. So just for the next few minutes, at first, let's just rest as gently as we can in the sensations of the breath. And so to begin our practice of loving kindness, we're going to start with what we call a benefactor. And a benefactor is anyone who has shown us great love and great kindness. Someone where you just think of this person and you could feel your heart getting bigger. Maybe you even just smile thinking of them. It could be your mom, your dad, brother, sister, your child. And it could really just be anyone who has shown you great love or great kindness. They can be alive or not. It doesn't matter. You don't have to struggle to pick one. You can just pick the first person that pops into your mind. Reflecting on the ways in which you've benefited from their love and kindness. And that you wish them continued love and continued kindness. And you can either do this practice a couple of different ways. You can repeat phrases over and over, like, may you be happy. May you be safe from inner and outer danger. May you be well in body and mind. May you be at peace and live at ease in this world. Or you can just radiate a beam of loving kindness from your heart to theirs. You can just picture them in your mind, smiling down at you. And radiating this beam of loving kindness from your heart to theirs. So either by repeating phrases or just radiating, we'll do this practice of loving kindness now for our benefactor or benefactress. And shifting our focus just a little bit from doing this practice for our benefactor to now imagining our benefactor doing this practice for us. And this is a really important part of this meditation, because now someone is doing this for us, and can we let this loving kindness into our own heart? So you can imagine either the same benefactor or another one, and think about how much they mean to you and how much they love you and care for you and want the best for you. And you can imagine them repeating these phrases for you. These same phrases: may you be happy and say your name. May you be safe from inner and outer danger. May you be well in body and mind. May you be at peace and live at ease in this world. Or you can just simply imagine them radiating a beam of loving kindness from their heart to yours and smiling when they do it. And just, if you want, putting your hand over your heart and just listening for your heart's response. Is your heart just letting this in? Or is there resistance there? It's okay if there's resistance. If there is, can you breathe into that to try to loosen it up just a little bit? Keeping in mind that they love you a great deal. And realizing so many people love you so much. And wouldn't it be wonderful if you can let all of that in? So just for the next few moments, we'll imagine our benefactor doing this practice for us. And so we can shift our focus again a little bit from imagining our benefactor doing this practice for us, and now we can do this practice for us. And so just think about our own wish to be happy, our own wish to be safe and protected. Free from harm. And gently start repeating these phrases to yourself. May I be happy. May I be safe from inner and outer danger. May I be well in body and mind. May I be at peace and live at ease in this world. Or any other phrase that has a loving and a kind intention is perfectly fine. And so, for the next couple of moments, let's just do this practice for ourselves. And finally, we can do this practice of loving kindness either for all beings in all directions, or if there's a certain group of people who you would like to do this practice for, you can do it for them. I'll let you choose whomever you want. It's totally up to you. There are so many people who can use our thoughts of loving kindness. And you can either repeat phrases or you can just simply radiate loving kindness from your heart to theirs. Wishing in gladness and in safety, may all beings be at ease. Just like it says in the Metta Sutra. So we'll conclude our meditation with this. And just open your eyes when you're ready. And in silence, just take the next maybe 90 seconds to stretch your arms and stretch your legs and keep those thoughts of loving kindness about you as much as possible while you do so. Remember, you're still practicing even though you're stretching out. And then we'll begin. Think of a question, comment. Okay. Okie dokie. That was good for me. It's always good for me. This is the time for questions. Like I said before, you can ask whatever question you want. It could be about the instructions. It could be about what maybe you experience in meditation, or maybe just want to let me know what you experienced in meditation. I would really love to know. One thing that really helps when doing these online classes, and I can't see you, what helps really, like everybody, I think, is engagement. It's hard to be engaged when you give an online class, but that's the reality of what we have to do right now. But one of the things that can really help is if you have a question, or if you just want to let me know how that meditation was for you, or just how you're doing in general. Maybe you've gotten used to it, this isolation and this lockdown, because it was difficult before, or maybe it's just more difficult. For me, it's still amazing. But I'm a weirdo. I'm a weirdo introvert, and I'm happy to be so. I think one of the things that this practice has allowed me to do is be okay with my own weirdnesses and idiosyncrasies, and believe me, I'll be 54 in a couple of weeks, so I have a lot of them. Maybe you've noticed, or not. I don't know. I have my llama pajamas on again, by the way, and they are really comfortable, but no pockets. No pockets are not good. Ladies, I know what you feel like now. Just kidding, I don't. If you have any questions, happy to entertain them, and let's get in. Let's talk.
Rose shared, "My mind is feeling so cluttered. I mentioned this before once, the pandemic is requiring me to be on video calls about 10 to 12 hours a day for work.
Mhm. And so Rose, I think I mentioned it last week or maybe the week before. I don't remember. That's real. That is absolutely real. Zoom fatigue. I think they called it Zoom fatigue. Zoom fatigue is real. And a lot of people are experiencing this because, like you said, I mean, maybe it's not 10 to 12 hours a day. That's excessive. And you know, a lot of people are having that because there's the Zoom meeting, so you're staring at the screen on your computer or your laptop, you know, whatever, and it's like that for a long time. And all you have is you're staring at the screen, and all these people staring back at you, talking and talking and talking and talking and talking and talking and talking, and you know, there's no, you know, it just gets annoying, and you get screen fatigue, and you know, again, they call it Zoom fatigue, and it's a real thing. And I encourage you to look up, Google Zoom fatigue and what to do about it, because it is a real thing. Somebody told me about, and I don't have all the details, so excuse me. It's called 20-20-20. So like in a Zoom meeting, because my guess is that in a Zoom meeting you don't have to talk all the time. That there's hopefully a group of people who are talking, and you don't have to talk all the time, and you don't even have to stare at the screen all the time. And the idea of this 20-20-20, and you can kind of Google that too, is like you look away and you just stare at something that's not on your screen for 20 seconds, and then you do something. It's do 20 seconds of this, 20 seconds of this, and 20 seconds of this. I can't exactly remember what it is, but I remember I heard it just being called 20-20-20, and hopefully that will help. And also just to remember, you don't have to stare at the screen all the time. And I'm wondering if you even have to like look at the screen at all. I mean, is it a possibility that you can bring up with these people who you're having the Zoom meeting with and say, you know, I'm getting fatigued with staring at a screen for 10 to 12 hours a day with all these meetings. Is there a way, can we just do this conference call? Why does it have to be a Zoom meeting? Why do I have to look at you all the time to do that? I was on a call today for an hour and a half, and it was only the last like half hour that we actually got to talk, because it wasn't Zoom, it was like the Microsoft Teams, which is, it's the same thing, right? I was staring at, you know, some guy that was who I was having a conversation with, but you know, and it was fun. I liked it because it was only a half hour. But you know, to do that for 10 to 12 hours, I mean, there's got to be, someone has to say something if it's that fatiguing, because that's excessive for anybody. That's excessive for anybody. And is there something that you can do? Can you bring this up to HR or your supervisor or something like that and say, this is too much. I need to either do a conference call instead, because I can't just stare at the screen. It's too fatiguing. It's too much. And it's a real thing, and many other people are experiencing it. You can even call it Zoom fatigue. And hopefully that will help. I'm sorry you have to deal with that. And you know, my heart goes out to you, Rose. I'm so sorry you have to deal with that, but hopefully that will help. So it could just be how you're doing. How you doing? Has it gotten worse for you, or has it gotten better? You can just type worse or better. It's gotten pretty good for me, you know why? Because I got a lot of energy now. And this temple is 6,000 square feet, 5,000 of which needs to be clean. We don't touch the gift shop. At least I don't. Maybe somebody does. And I'm basically the only one who really cleans anything, which is okay. Mostly. And so for some reason, I found myself having a lot of energy. And, but there's 5,000 feet of surfaces, it gets dusty a lot. This is mostly just dust. And I don't know, I just feel so much better when I do it. And maybe just because it's a Buddhist temple, I don't know, but I figure, at a Buddhist temple, the Buddha visits every day, so clean accordingly. I remember a couple of days ago, I was just cleaning, and I wasn't even paying attention. And when I looked up, I was just kind of like the big ball of sweat. And I don't know, I just felt exhilarated for some reason because I got a lot done. I've done a lot more cleaning in the last maybe 2-3 weeks than I've done probably in the last year. And I'm just even more grateful just because I get to stay in the Buddhist temple and do all that stuff. Anyway, that's my experience.
Marisa shared waves of good and bad, but mostly good.
Waves of good and bad, but mostly good. If it was mostly bad, that'd also be okay. But I'm glad it's mostly good. I know not a lot of people a lot of people are like me and a lot of people aren't like me. People's anxieties flare up and depression flares up. And that's difficult for sure. Access to mental health care is not always, it probably isn't great right now, and I don't know how it is for anybody. I know my therapist, I had to do he couldn't figure out the Zoom thing, or I couldn't figure out the Zoom thing. I can't remember, but we just had a phone call, and that was nice. I mean, I like that. But at least I had access, So access is nice. And for those of you who need it, hopefully you have access too. And for those of you who don't, who maybe want someone to talk to, and it's difficult for you, there are, now I remember, I wish I knew what those apps were. There's apps on the phone that you can get to talk to a mental health professional. You can just talk to them. That, hey, this is really difficult. What do I do? Oh goodness, I don't remember what they are, like Better Health or something like that. I can't remember. But if you don't have access to mental health professional, and if you just need to talk to somebody, that's another avenue. So you can just Google like apps for therapy or something like that, and you'll get there. You'll get there. Talk something, I can't remember. So please feel free to avail yourself of that. Make sure that you're as kind to yourself as possible when you have these waves of anxiety and difficulty kind of sweeping over you. You don't have to necessarily just take it and say, oh, I'm a meditator and I should know how to deal with these better. Some people don't, and I don't always. And so I have someone I can talk to if I need to. And so I'm grateful for that. Thank you, Marisa.
Paige shared that she's doing worse, and she also said that headspace is good.
Yeah, Paige, thank you for saying that. I'm sorry you're doing worse. I know it's difficult. My heart goes out to you because a lot of people are in your boat and they're not doing great. And it's really difficult for them because there are plenty of people who just need people. Even if you can just get out there and be in a crowd of people and not necessarily talk to anybody, you just need people. And I get that. I absolutely get that. Headspace and Calm are two apps. They're meditation apps. Headspace is it is started by, I think he used to be a Buddhist monk in the Tibetan tradition, I think. I think he does all of the meditations. So all of the meditations, it's his voice that you hear. And there is a Headspace is part of it's free, but if you have to, for some of it you have to pay like a monthly subscription or something like that. And if you're going to spend money on anything, why not that? That's fine. I just found out, or just was reminded, that I pay like $24 for my Experian monthly thing that I guess I do now, and I just forgot all about it. And it's like, well, I could use that money for something else. I don't need to use it for Experian. Calm is another one, the Calm app. Calm is also a channel on Sirius XM radio. If you have Sirius XM radio, it's channel 68. It used to be the Spa channel, and now it's the Calm channel. And Calm, I think it's different people who do the meditations. I'm not entirely sure, but you can do that as well. And again, there's some free stuff, but after a while, it's a subscription. You can get a subscription, and so that's just another option. So you know what? Especially in this difficult time, avail yourself to the widest array of help that you can. Just you have the time, most likely. Just do as much as you can. Get as much help for yourself as you can. Be as kind to yourself as you can. If you have horrible, difficult thoughts, forgive yourself for these things instead of being mad at somebody else. You're punishing yourself. I know I'm punishing myself with all of the anger that I feel, and I realize that's the case, that I'm punishing myself, I'm being punished by my own anger and by these own difficult feelings, and to give myself a break. And when you do loving kindness for yourself, it's so amazingly transformative. And do it for a while. Because whoever's out there, you do deserve to be happy, and you do deserve love. You are loved. There's so many people who love you. I love you. So many of your friends and family, I would say all of your friends and family love you. But sometimes it's difficult to feel that. And so hopefully you can do that. Guys, thank you so much. Do we have any other questions?
We have Marisa asked if it was Talkspace was the therapy app.
Talkspace, yeah, that's something like that. Yeah, Talkspace, something like that. Yeah, there's a couple of them. I think Talkspace is one of them.
And then Mary had shared that I'm homesick for my pre-quarantine life sometimes, and then really appreciating my current quiet life sometimes.
Yeah, me too. I love it. And I think a lot of it is not just, hey, I'm naturally an introvert, but it's what this practice has done for me. This practice has let it be okay to be with my own thoughts and feelings. And hopefully after continued practice, maybe it'll be that way for you too soon. All right, so guys, I do love you all very much. And if you have any questions, you can put them in the comment section. We'll try to get back to you. I never watch myself, so I'll try to remember to do that. And until next time, see you.